problem isn't in my pants. Mex-Men.
So what I was thinking was that we're literally like some grannies in a book club.
Yeah. That is what we do. We just...
Yeah, this is a book club.
This is a book club with... I mean, probably about the same amount of talking about penises. If not less.
Yeah.
Grandmas are
If we're
probably low-key dirty.
Oh, they talk
you
about
know.
dicks so much.
I think it's high key.
At least my grandma.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't necessarily let everyone else know that. Like,
Well, because
not
you have to be a
everyone's my
granny.
grandma.
You got to be in the inner circle.
Oh, yeah. I just mean, like, you know, the rest of society doesn't necessarily know that Meemaw is talking about, like, getting, you know, railed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Meemaw likes a good railing. Welcome to this issue of Mex-Men. I'm
Gotta
Tony.
have it.
I'm Justin.
I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be going over Uncanny X-Men, the X-Men vs. S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. And, because otherwise she'd fall downstairs. Right, without the railing. Because I couldn't let the last thing I said on that be, she's gotta have it, without the explanation. I just realized we're in the middle of the intros.
So like you're thinking like a stair railing or like maybe a shower railing.
Exactly.
Because grannies love a shower railing.
See, now you're
Sorry,
overkilling
guy.
it. It's like you have to explain the punchline. Like those rappers who spit something super clever and then they have to explain it to you the next line. It just ruins it.
Yeah, or they got to do their like, ha ha, get it? It's a joke.
And they say run it back,
Yeah.
and they repeat it.
Or they're
Literally,
like,
Eminem just did that.
they're Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Like that's just what Lil Wayne does is, ha ha, yeah.
It's a thing.
It's a joke, get it?
I don't see me with you, no moo. He did that.
No moo, really?
Yeah,
He
instead
rhymed
of
you
more.
with moo instead of more. Yep.
Yeah, so let's get into the
No, just right
juicy
into it.
bits
Huh?
of the story. Speaking of railings and grandma, we'll get into these juicy bits.
Ew.
You would.
Ew. You called them juicy bits.
Yeah, well, a lot of lubricant used.
Ugh. That's probably what Hijack was dreaming of. Because issue 19 starts with him waking up kind of ashamed. He looks like he's ashamed. So he was dreaming of some grandma's juicy bits. And he goes out to his kitchen to find Shield's just there. Like, hey, what's up? So, where's Scott Summers? And that's kind of all they say to him for like the 3 books that are in his house.
Also, he's got Spider-Man underwear on. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah, like
cool.
she's like, oh, we're here to help you. Where's Scott Summers?
Yeah. She's all like, you're not in trouble. I mean, but you are in trouble.
Yeah, you
If
could
you
be
don't
in
help
trouble
us,
if
yeah.
you don't help us.
And Hijack is all like, I swear to God, I don't actually know. Funny thing about the magic bus is you don't see the GPS.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us have phones. The only thing I knew about was when we were in Maine.
Although, if anyone does know where they are, it should be him because he had his phone at the base. He could have Google mapped himself at any point in time, or like MapQuest. I don't like, unless are there
No service.
Well,
Yeah, they're in
no,
Canada.
sir, like in Canada, yeah.
You don't get service in Canada.
Well, I like the idea too that there are just no maps in Canada. like there are no maps of Canada.
You gotta look at the stars.
Nobody knows what Canada is.
Like you know that the body of mass is Canada, but like inside Canada, like you have to be Canadian. Like Canadians just psychically know what the streets are and whatnot, and there are no directions.
I like the idea of that you're like looking at a map in North America, and as soon as you leave Michigan, it's like a Skyrim map or like like a Game of Thrones where it's just like a topographical old school map where there's like,
It's like, is that a fucking dragon?
all we know is that here there's mountains, and once you pass this point in Canada, you fall off the face of the earth.
And there's a kraken in the middle of a landmass.
Yes.
How does that happen? I don't know.
It's you have to walk to unlock the map. It's one of those things.
you got to climb a tower like you're in a Ubisoft game.
So needless to say, David Bond, aka Hijack, did none of these things. All he did was move a couple planes around, and they were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe you could do it to a helicarrier." And he's like, "I bet I could." And then he did, or actually, it was a bit different, right? He was like, I don't think I could do that. And then Scott was like, I bet you can.
Yeah.
And then he did it. Because Scott always seeing the best in people. Until they take their cell phone.
He would have known he could do it if Scott would let him train using his powers.
Right? But then the whole cell phone debacle, he kicks him right off the team. So much for that power. Which, by the way, turns out to be really important in this arc.
It turns out is a really helpful thing to have.
Yeah. Maybe Cyclops doesn't make the best decisions all the time.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, you're setting it up.
So yeah, Maria Hill is constantly so where's Scott Summers? I don't know. She's not also saying I don't know. This is David Bond saying I don't know. But that's basically
Mr. Bond.
Yeah.
They aggressively call him Mr. Bond a lot.
Yeah.
They want you to think James Bond, but they don't want you to think James Bond.
Not at all.
Yeah.
This guy's nothing like James Bond. Even when he leaves for his cool moment, he's in flip-flops.
Yeah.
Also, at the same time, while Maria Hill's grilling...
Also, if he was
Hijack-
James Bond, Maria Hill's name would be Tits a Lot of Worth.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Because every James Bond woman is always named something like that.
Yeah, but you know for sure that that's Emma Frost.
Normas Stitz.
Now you're just fucking talking about Austin Powers characters.
Yes. Which is also the same thing as James Bond characters. Not as much of a parody as you'd think.
All right, so while S.H.I.E.L.D. is interrogating Hijack, Mystique is on Madripoor with Sabretooth.
I thought you were going to say on some other shit.
She is on some other shit. Because she's like, so this is Dazzler. This is where we're getting our mutant drug from. She's a dirty whore.
Yeah.
And she says that a few times.
She really doesn't like Dazzler.
She's like, I know.
Yes.
I have been her for however long this, time scale runs between these books and what actually is the real world. So anywhere between about a year to a couple weeks, I've been Dazzler. And
That's a huge time frame.
I gotta tell you,
Let me tell you,
she's
during
a
that
dirty whore.
time, yeah, while I was her,
Yeah. She says, I've been living as her, and I can tell you from the first person experience that she is a sellout dirty whore. And you and I, Victor, we know some dirty sellout whores in our time.
and he's just kind of like, yeah, I hear you. He kind of just wanted to know where the mutant growth hormone was coming from. And
Yeah.
she's like, this bitch.
I feel like he's doing that thing where you're like, right, then you turn your head and you're like, ooh. You're like,
She's
Jesus.
crazy.
I don't think he really cares at all. He was just there to give her somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some exposition on what's
Yeah.
going on with Dazzler. But so she's basically comatose in a bed, medically induced kind of coma.
Did
And
you say comatose?
comatose?
I think you said comatose.
I probably did.
Like,
Well, I in the terms of it past tense having happened to her, not meant to end it on a T, like the bread you eat
yeah.
after you cook it,
Just-
but with a D, comatose.
It just sounds like bread that, it takes a long time for it to turn into,
or that bread's so good that it puts you into a coma, the itis of that toast.
yeah,
It's
or
long.
it's so bad, it's somebody sprinkled
Knocks you
cyanide
out.
on his toast.
Yeah.
Here's your comatose.
Well, because coma toasted? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I was trying to say it in a way in which it had happened to her.
Had
Medi-
been comatose.
All right, yep.
Yeah.
So
So Dazzler wasn't even an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that long before Mystique took over.
It was
No,
like a day.
week.
So this is where I have that problem, because she's calling out Dazzler and just for taking the position. She didn't do anything.
Well, exactly. It was for taking the position.
Yeah, but it's the whole point was
And
to
also,
help out.
she bought the greatest hit album and realized these aren't even the greatest hits.
She's mad that she went from disco to pop music, and that's why she's a sellout.
Holding it against her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I used to like Dazzler before she was on a major label.
Yeah, she's like a total hipster about her Dazzler music. I like her from the Dark Phoenix saga way before anybody else liked her.
And she's the only one in that world who refers to a time in their lives that they all lived as the saga.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's got like bandages over Dazzler's eyes and like her ears all stuffed up because she's just like, look, I don't know the ranges of her power. So like even while they're in the room with her, she's having Sabretooth whisper with her because they're like, I don't want to wake this bitch up. She's gonna be pretty mad.
Yeah, and if for some reason I ever have to write a Dazzler run for Marvel, which that won't happen.
Right.
That's an obviously specific scenario.
Yeah.
But like I'm making her listen to metal music and just fucking destroying people.
Well, I think she listens to Pink right after this because
That's
It's
better.
gonna be all just
Dazzler
like,
goes punk.
it's gonna be all like Whitechapel or Slayer.
Dazzler
you think
goes-
Pink is punk music.
No, but Dazzler goes punk in the sense of like Target punk
Yeah. Well, like, yeah.
is Pink. Target punk is
I
Pink,
think like Target Punk is like Simple Plan.
I guess. I don't even know who that is.
Then what's pink?
Pink is like
Pop. All right. So
So what?
so Dazzler does go punk in Secret Wars, doesn't she? Or A-Force?
I don't know. One of those.
She had cut her hair and gets that blue star back on her eye.
Yeah.
Punk.
Punk.
I'm gonna defer to you guys because you're definitely the authorities in punk.
I don't even
So-
I think you know more than I. So
Okay.
Yeah, I was only in a death metal band for a year, so I wouldn't know anything.
Yeah, doesn't sound like it's a punk band, does it? You
I was
just
in a
said
punk
death metal.
band for before that, but I wasn't good at punk music at that time.
Retroactively correcting yourself. All right.
I was a 14-year-old in a punk band. You can't be that punk when you're 14.
So you understand the angst that Dazzler's going through.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mystique takes out a big ass syringe, pulls some, I guess, mutant juice out of Dazzler, and she's like, "So this is how we keep our pockets flush and Madripoor running smoothly." Which I also like she thinks that Madripoor is running smoothly. It's a den of thieves and drug dealers and crooked people. Like the one happy guy that Sabretooth saw, he beat the shit out of just for walking on air and thinking he could smile.
I've never seen such a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
You call me a hack.
That was a perfect joke, you know.
So,
So
I
Corona.
anyway. Like, there's a difference if I'm just saying it to say it and if I'm saying it because I want us to go into a conversation about Corona, which I don't.
hey, anytime we can tie in Star Wars, I'm down.
Next week we'll be covering all Star Wars.
That's so weird, right? Because it's a Marvel book. Like, you'd expect at some point
Yeah.
there's going to be a cross-universe thing.
I mean, they
X
do
of Swords.
X of Stars.
Yeah, Scott has a lightsaber!
No, Stars of War.
Stars of War. Oh.
You really had to compose yourself on that one.
But, like, the T in star is going to be an X for some reason. Like, it's just going to be, like, kind of a crooked one. So it's like, is that a T or is that an X?
Stacks of War.
No, Scars. Scars of War. But Star Wars.
This is just a different book now.
No, I know, but like it's still supposed to be a T. They'll do it in a graphic designy way that's like, hey, this is, cool.
So what happens in the story next, Devin?
So we got
They
Scott
leave her,
Summers
she says,
talking with
ow. Huh?
Ava.
What?
Well, I just skipped all that stuff.
Yeah, because, all right, so I guess it does cut back real quick to Maria Hill and David, and she's basically blaming it all on Scott. Like, look, Scott's so smart. He knew we were watching your home. He knew we were watching everyone's home, and that as soon as he dropped you off, that he was dropping you off into our laps, and he knew, like, I have to talk to you about this. I have to question you, and if you don't help me, I have to punish you. So this is all Scott's fault, really.
Yeah.
So where is he?
Trying to manipulate him.
Yeah. It's like, but I still don't know. Again, Canada has no maps.
Yeah. You got to buy DLC for Canada.
Yeah, man, that really should come in the base game.
Yeah.
You still got to do the whole tower thing and look up at the regions. So yeah, Ava's talking to Scott.
So they never noticed her hair though. I'm kind of mad nobody mentioned that.
Yeah, her hair is just
That's
longer.
just longer. Yeah.
Within
Yeah, like, oh.
instances.
Something's weird. After that last mission, your hair grew 5 inches.
Well, he actually, this is exactly when he says, hey, you seem like you've changed since, like, he doesn't specify the hair. But he's like,
nobody does.
You seem different from that, since that training exercise.
I can't
and she's
put my
like, oh,
finger
do
on
I?
it.
As men, you both know that we never notice a woman's hair.
Well,
Yeah, but when you go from like that short, like at the chin to shoulders past in an instant, it's kind of noticeable.
I'd never mention it because I'd always think that you did it like 2 weeks ago, and I'm afraid that I'm just now noticing it.
I feel like there's the difference though, because girls, it'll be like at their shoulder blade and it's an inch difference, and you're like, I don't know, that's in your back. Who knows?
Maybe she got extensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, in weird, super evolved Savage Land. That's kind of what it is. It's like the anti-Savage Land.
Yeah, I mean, she
Oh,
could have
yeah.
just, because she disappeared. Maybe she just disappeared, got extensions, and came back.
I was just thinking that. Yeah. She didn't really grow her hair.
Yeah, she wasn't gone for more than like a couple hours. That was the only day and then she came back with the extensions.
And then got
That's why she left.
Yeah, was to get the extensions.
it came back with like the cool, like sexually like charged rips in her clothes, like where they had it. Like it was like supposed to be badass and sexy at the same time.
I've never went to get hair extensions, but I mean, maybe there was a sale.
No, I'm saying like, yeah, like she's
They
like,
were
it's like a
aggressive.
strip mall, and she got like both new clothes that are, tattered new, right? Like they're
On purpose, yeah.
on purpose.
They sell them like that.
and her extensions, and then got back. Like,
I was assuming they were just fighting over a sale,
oh,
and that's how they got ripped.
yeah, but in the right spots, I don't know. Anyway, so he's checking out Cerebro, looking at all the mutant lights, and they're kind of talking about like, oh, this is kind of cool, huh? He's like, yeah, and then there's like a big one. We should go check that out. And yeah, they go to Chicago, and this was pretty fun because a lot of just like background banter between the students going on of like, hey, we just appeared out of nowhere, and a guy pooped himself because he saw us he saw nothing, and then he saw us, and then poop. And then Benjamin's like, we've been to hell, and I didn't poop myself. It's so like so there's this whole like conversation about
Poop.
yeah, but like loose bowels, like how brittle is this guy that just seeing something appear out of nowhere made him poop himself?
I mean, I'm assuming he had like one in the chamber and was holding it in, and then just the little scare, just like he had to let it go.
Yeah, that's my guess. The line was really long. He really needed to go, man.
Yeah, maybe he was in line for the bathroom so he could poop.
He already had a newspaper in his hand too.
Yeah,
He was ready.
He was ready.
but it wasn't to read the newspaper. He was going to set it on the ground and shit on it like a bird.
They went to
I mean,
Chicago,
yeah,
not San
triage
Francisco.
does say watch where you step. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because they don't see any mutant around. Meanwhile, there's a giant ass sentinel in the background. It takes them a minute to find out, like to notice.
I like that call out because they're like getting all gawked at, and Magic's like, "Oh, we're the famous X-Men." Plus, Miss Frost doesn't wear proper shirts. She's like you do, Magic?
Yeah, with the boob window.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. Is like Magic says that to Emma, and I was like, dude, you're wearing pretty much the same thing. And then they pointed out right after that. So I was like, oh, all right. At least they pointed out.
To be fair, it's probably harder for Magic's boobs to pop out of her shirt than it is for for Emma Frost's boobs to pop out of her not even like physically possible shirt. Like the laws of
Yeah,
physics
she's
don't
got
make
tape.
sense in how that shirt
I
works.
disagree because I think hers is like held together with like tape and rubber cement, and it's not going anywhere. But Magic is just slipped on. So I guarantee if she lifted her arms up, boobs popping right out.
That doesn't really happen with like a sports bra. I always thought it was like kind of a sports bra with a boob window.
I think it's a shirt. I think it's lifting up.
No, it's like a sports bra with a boob window. Like you
Sports
got
bra doesn't go
there's like
button
a
around your
cleavage
neck.
window, which is like a weird thing. Did you remember that in high school? Like
I
the
didn't
girls.
wear a sports bra in high school.
No,
Did you?
no, but there was a thing where like all the girls were wearing like cleavage window shirts. Like they were specifically wearing like a 2-layered like V-neck thing that specifically showed the cleavage of their boobs. Like all of them were. It was insane.
We went to different high schools. You went to the bad kid high school.
I didn't go to the bad kid high school. What are you talking about?
You went to went to
was
the poor kid
homeschooled.
school. I went to the
Poor kid school, which is funny because
I went to the rich kid school until I went to the really poor kid school, and they didn't have girls there. There was like 5 girls
it's
there.
funny because I came from the area that thought that the poor kid school I went to was the rich kid school. Whatever. I just remember a teacher of mine like actually being angry at like why is there cleavage everywhere? This is ridiculous.
I don't know. My first high school had the like $1 million theater that never had people in it, so they like kids would just go in there and fuck.
Oh, well then.
They had a fucking.
That sounds familiar. Did you go to my high school?
No,
Probably.
you and Duffin went to the same high school. I think I went to Kettering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we both went to
I went to WB as well.
Oh, 20? like the Warner Brothers channel? Or
Yeah, you went to.
West Bloomfield High School.
Oh, all right. Oh, Bloomfield. Yeah, they have money.
And topical.
I'm deleting out every reference you make to Corona.
Just beep it. Leave it, but beep it.
Beep it. All right. That won't be more work for me.
No.
You've made half the references. Anyway, so there's I think Benjamin makes a comment like, oh, well, maybe we can't find the mutant because he's super tiny. And Goldball is like, oh, crap. You say that now? And he's like looking around thinking he might have stepped on him. And meanwhile, there's a giant sentinel. And they're like, oh, well, that's an issue. There's a big old sentinel. And then that sentinel opens his mouth and like human-sized sentinels.
Emma Frost is like, it's a trap.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
Hey, Star Wars references already.
This is gonna be we're close to May. Next week will be our technical Star Wars Day week.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. So Cyclops tries to shoot the Sentinels, and his optic blast aside, nope, we hate this building instead. And he blows up a building, kind of.
I love that Cyclops' optic blasts broken work. Like, you know how after you have sex and you go to take a piss, and there's like a little bit of cum in there, so it sprays. I like that his powers work the same way.
So, like someone
He's
just
got a
put their
blockage.
finger, like at the end of a hose, but not like flush, so it's still spraying.
Yeah, you don't
out.
know where it's going.
Yeah. His powers work the same way as a penis.
Well, he does work out of a head condom.
And everybody keeps calling him a dick.
Yeah, oh, it's crazy. It's like
Yeah, now
Bendis
that you
knew
bring
what
that
he
up,
was doing.
there's a lot of correlation.
Yeah.
What's funny to me though is how his lack of control with his power illustrated always seems like, oh, he just can't control his neck. Like his head's just like flailing all over the place. Like, look down, man.
Yeah, like he's got Cosby neck.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when you think about it, he should have like his neck should just be gigantic.
He just ripped.
From having to, just a ripped neck and that's it.
But he's still like skinny.
Yeah.
So it's just like a skinny guy with a thick ass neck.
Yeah, so his powers aren't working the way they're supposed to, and which is like crazy, because isn't that like the whole point? Like his powers were never working the way they were supposed to.
We've gone over this.
No, I know. It just feels like he's beating a dead horse in writing, because like we find out why they're not working currently, but it's like, weren't they already not working?
Well, yeah, that's why he said, hey, Magic, get the students out of here because I'm about to blast everything.
Yeah. Well, then her powers don't work, so she can't do
Oh,
that.
so you're saying there's a third layer of the
Exactly.
powers not working.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why that didn't seem necessary.
Oh, yeah, I get you.
Yeah, so anyway, they're about to get killed, and Ava saves them. She throws up a time bubble, and she teleports them in time by a whole minute, so they miss the blast. And for some reason, Triage takes offense to that. And then Magic's like, all right, well, I'm a sorceress too, so I'm just going to do some spells. And that'll beat them.
She summons Shenron.
Yeah.
So, see, I didn't like this because she's using all those spells, and she's like, yeah, I learned them from Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we all
nobody's
read that.
The fuck? Because
Yeah,
she
but
doesn't
we
just
read
say,
that Demon Bear stuff.
She
And she was
doesn't-
already,
Oh,
she was casting spells then.
yeah, but she doesn't say either that she learned them from Doctor Strange. She says she's been practicing with Doctor Strange, and nobody bats an eye at that.
No,
Scott
they
does.
do. They do. Scott's like, when were you going to tell me this? Which is
He
funny
puts
because it was
hands on
his
the
idea.
hips, starts tapping his feet, like,
Yeah.
and you were going to tell me when?
Yeah. But it was also his idea. Like when her powers
feel like-
first started freaking out, he was like, well,
Yeah.
we got to go to Doctor Strange then. And she's like, good idea. I'll time travel.
Yeah, but she didn't tell him.
No.
But I mean, a lot of writers forget that she can cast spells. So now all of a sudden that she's doing it, it's like, oh, well, Doctor Strange taught me.
Yeah,
I guess
but
I never knew how to do this ever.
But that was a specific spell, though. Like, she used, like, one of those fucking, Vishanti spells or whatever?
Yeah, they were all Vishanti, coincidentally.
You're like, maybe she just got the book from Strange of, like, Vishanti books.
Yeah.
Like, she knew other spells, but, like, he hoards the Vishanti shit to
I'm trying
himself.
to say lazy writing, okay?
Well, you tell Bendis.
I will tell him.
I got his
You
number.
know what?
Right
I
here.
will mail him a letter via owl.
You could try tweeting him. That might be easier.
What? Is that? Oh.
I mean,
People
because if
don't
you
read tweets, but they read owls. If an owl drops a letter to you, you will read it.
well, yeah, because you're assuming you're being accepted to Hogwarts.
Exactly.
Also, like,
and its
holy
first thing
fucking-
will be you're denied.
If a bird dropped any paper at me, I'll read what's on it. Like, holy fuck, a bird just dropped a parcel.
That's what I'm saying, man.
And an
Also,
owl is just a more badass bird.
owls are dirty creatures. I'm not reading anything that it drops.
By the way,
You're
part of
lying.
why you got to get like further into what we do in the shadows. The episode that just came out,
Ooh.
they go to a superb owl party. It's a Super Bowl party, but they don't know that.
That's so stupid.
They think it's to celebrate the most superb owl, and they're like, owls are amazing. They're nocturnal. They got talons. They hunt. We love owls. It's great. It's great.
Decorated with the creepy paper.
Great, baby.
Yeah,
it's a
Josie
great show.
buys a bunch of crepe paper because he thinks it's creepy paper.
But the point was with magic though is that they're like, oh, what's this new trick, magic? As if she couldn't already cast spells.
Yeah,
that
but
was
she's
the real
doing
thing.
it better. I that's not something I'm really all that hung up on in this.
Yeah, I mean, it is a full, like, 6 dragons or whatever. I don't know if it's a bunch of dragons or a dragon with a bunch of heads. But it's one of those things, and everybody knows that the more heads you summon, the more power it takes.
Yeah, and then the Sentinels are just like, oh no, and they run away. So it's great. You get some cool moments of gold balls, like when the Sentinels leave, their powers are suddenly working again, and gold balls is like, hey, my balls are working.
I got balls.
Yeah, because he was like, my balls are broken. And then later he says, oh, my balls are working again. And Emma Frost's like, wording.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Scott's like, you know what? This is either S.H.I.E.L.D. or S.H.I.E.L.D.'s letting it happen. So we're going to war. And that is the title of the arc. He says
it's
the
not.
thing.
It's not we're going to war.
No, this is war with S.H.I.E.L.D. So we're going to war with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which was kind of funny. It felt like childish. She was like, if you're doing it, we're going to war. If someone else is doing it and you're just standing by, we're going to war too.
That reminds me of that Simpsons episode where that one old guy becomes the teacher because all the teachers quit, and he's like, "You raise your voice, that's paddling. I hear you talk in class, that's paddling. Somebody else blames you for something, that's paddling."
Exactly. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, there's basically no way out of it. He's like, if you do it, it's war. If somebody else does it, it's war.
It looks
And
like
it's
we're
like
on a
next
fucking war.
issue, they go to war.
It's like a Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode. Like he's like, "Oh, if Shield has anything to do with this, we're going to war." And then it comes up with the black title screen. It's like X-Men go to war with Shield.
Yeah. So anyway, that ends issue 19, and issue 20 is Maria Hill just still asking Hijack, so where's Scott Summers? And him going, I don't know. Which, by the way, how have they not guessed Canada?
Does anybody ever guess Canada?
They're just
Yeah,
gonna,
but they're S.H.I.E.L.D., right? So they're everywhere but Canada, and they should probably be like, well, where are we not? And then Canada. Like, if it's such
No,
a place
but
that
Canada's
like,
not even on their map.
we know for a fact that they're not in Michigan. We know for a fact.
Yeah, Michigan's not Canada.
You said Canada's the only place that they're not.
Also, they were in Michigan.
No, they're not. That was the whole point of that. She said, "Why don't we have anybody in Michigan?" And they say because it's Michigan.
But also they were because
They were in Chicago.
It was the Sentinels.
Ohio.
But they're
Justin, back me up on this.
They're
You
responsible
remember.
for the Sentinels. Shield is both is and isn't in Michigan. They're not in the good way.
They did show up in Michigan.
And then they did show up afterwards.
The second time they came up.
Yeah, they had to go there, but they don't have people in Michigan. They can show up to Canada.
Yeah, but Canada's not on the map.
Yeah, you're right. The DLC. Fucking EA with their microtransactions. I've only unlocked British Columbia.
So stupid. Anyway, not Nick Fury is like, hey, we just got word that they're in Chicago and there's another Sentinel attack.
Is
like,
that
right
not
now.
Nick Fury?
Yeah, it's not Nick Fury. They just change it with a different black guy with glasses.
They swapped him out for token black guy, really?
Yeah.
That's messed up.
She was early on in this series, she was always kind of being palled around by young Nick Fury and Coulson, and now it's just a different white guy and a different black guy.
Who looks? The white guy looks like Hawkeye too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Which I mean, I guess is just a blonde white guy in glasses, but
Which looks like Hawkeye.
yeah,
Every blonde guy in glasses.
all of them. Everybody knows that every single blonde guy with glasses is Hawkeye.
That tracks.
Anybody who's got
Yeah, as
brown
soon as you
hair is
tell
gonna have-
somebody to shut up, you're Hawkeye.
yeah,
Yeah.
just shut up.
So, hey, Hawkeye.
Yeah. I'm not wearing glasses.
So, anyway, S.H.I.E.L.D. decides, all right, we're going to head to Chicago then, and we're going to stop them there. Like, they don't just teleport everywhere. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, I think even not Nick Fury is like, I mean, they got a mutant that just sort of teleports everywhere. So, like, why are we running to Chicago?
See, the problem
He's
is
got all
we're
the
going
facts.
to where they are instead of where they're gonna be.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, they teleport. They got a strong psychic hive mind. And Maria Hill's not hearing any of it. That's all excuses. Let's make a dumb decision.
Yeah, we need to be 10 steps ahead of Scott Summers. And then suddenly everything kind of freezes around her. And Scott Summers is like, how is that going for you?
How you
Being 10
doing with
steps
that?
ahead of me. And then he sort of gets in her head. He has the cuckoos go into her mind. Ironically enough, like she did say, like, you can read my mind. And he's like, okay.
What's funny though is the position that she's standing and
Coincidentally.
and
Not
the
ironically.
like how far apart they are. She is like literally 10 steps ahead of them.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
is
but
it
where are they
behind?
heading?
'Cause she
Maybe
ain't where
he's
he
10
is.
steps, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume because they're both facing the same direction, but then she turns around.
He's walking backwards.
I like the...
He's moonwalking.
They're both moonwalking.
That's how far ahead of her he is.
It's like in New Girl whenever there's an awkward moment and they just moonwalk out of the room.
But, like, I like the idea, too, that they're just, like, two people, like, fucking high having a conversation. Like, I'm 10 steps ahead of you. It's like, nah. Or am I 10 steps ahead of you? Because they're just
Whoa.
10
They just turn
steps
around.
apart.
But I like that all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are, like, compromised now because it kind of goes all black and white for everybody.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're under arrest. He's like, sure I am.
Yeah. Yeah, try it.
Yeah, and he brings up, so there's another Sentinel attack, again, on my people. Maybe stop making Sentinel, like, mutant hunting Sentinels. And even if you aren't the one making mutant hunting Sentinels, you're supposed to not let people make mutant hunting Sentinels, and you're responsible for that. So, either way, we're at war. And, it's also revealed, too, as the cuckoos are going in her head, and they're like, okay, well, she doesn't know anything about the Sentinels, but also thinks it could be S.H.I.E.L.D. It's just like a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. she's not aware of yet, and maybe a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. that's over her head that she doesn't actually have the authority to stop, which at this point, is she the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet?
Yeah, she's the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now.
So it's weird that anything would be over her head.
She's about to not be the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Wasn't there about to not be a S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah, I think like right after Secret Wars, there's no more S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comic that starts right after Secret Wars, and then I haven't read that, but I think that ends S.H.I.E.L.D.
Also, I think S.H.I.E.L.D. is always kind of like doing stuff when they're not supposed to be a thing.
Yeah. I know by the time Jessica Jones comes out, S.H.I.E.L.D. is not a thing anymore, and Marie Hill's on the run.
Like the TV show is basically about an organization that's not even supposed to be an organization halfway through it. But they're still an organization.
Yeah.
That is.
I mean, at this point, they're not supposed to be an organization either.
Oh, well.
But they probably are.
Yeah, there's still like some stragglers left. And
well, Orchis, right? Orchis is made up of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and a bunch of...
And AIM agents.
Yeah.
I think pretty much as soon as Tony Stark takes over S.H.I.E.L.D., it's like kind of on a downhill slope.
Who would have thought?
I was going to say something to defend him, but nah. Nah. Some things just you just don't defend Tony Stark for.
Yeah, as soon as it wasn't Nick Fury anymore, it's been a downslope
Yeah.
for S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's not a great team leader.
Yeah. There's a reason he doesn't
So like
do it.
the Cuckoos are going into Maria Hill's brain. They're like, oh, she's a decorated S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. She's probably got psychic blocks to stop us. Nope, we're in.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, and then you find out that she's secretly attracted to Scott Summers also, and
Like
she's
super horny for him.
and
Which
is
he's
mad that
smiling
she's-
about, which was funny.
Yeah,
He's like,
He's like, oh, tell me more.
and he's like, "I've been involved with psychics," and she's like, "Yeah, I bet." I'm like,
He's
almost
like, no,
jealous.
all the psychics.
And he's
There's
like-
nobody more involved with the psychics than me.
And he's like, "No, I mean, I know that those thoughts that they just pulled up could have been implanted there for me to find in such a situation as this. So you're not off the hook. We're blaming you for the Sentinels until you can prove you have nothing to do with the Sentinels." Which, I mean, to be fair, they are coming from S.H.I.E.L.D. So
yeah.
For a second I thought that was going to give away what's going to happen next, but they've been said it's coming from S.H.I.E.L.D. But it's all literally the Sentinels are emerging from helicarriers.
Now that I'm thinking about it, the last real good thing to happen with S.H.I.E.L.D. was the third Secret Wars.
I'm not remembering which
Really?
one that is specifically.
That's the one with Quake.
Oh, yeah, and that was also a bad thing.
Yeah.
I thought the last good thing to happen to S.H.I.E.L.D. was when Colossus got a magnetic fastball special right through the helicarrier.
Just go all the way back to AVX, huh?
That's the literally last good thing to happen to S.H.I.E.L.D.
No,
Oh,
you're
I
talking
guess
about
Agent Dazzler. Agent Dazzler was the last good thing.
what, and then she's immediately
one
abducted
day.
and replaced.
From 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., they were riding high.
That was a highlight in their career.
Yeah.
Oh man! And speaking of that, so it turns out Blob total junkie.
Oh, before we move on from that scene, though, when Scott disappears, all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are just knocked the fuck out.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
and he
great.
because she freaks out. She's like, "I've been compromised. I've been psychically attacked." And everyone's like, "Huh? What?" And then they're all knocked out. And then he just sort of emerges from behind her, and he's like, "Now I'm 10 steps behind you."
He's like, "No, I'm only 2 steps behind you now." He blows him into her ear.
Yeah, she was super excited.
So anyway, Blob kind of waits, he's waiting for Mystique and Sabretooth to leave where Dazzler is, and then he sneaks in, which is a hilarious concept to me, that fucking giant of a man is trying to be covert.
Yeah.
And he sneaks in because he knows that Mystique is hiding something, because he knows she's controlling the mutant growth hormone, but he doesn't know where it's coming from. And so he thinks he's going to break in to the source of it, because it turns out he's fiending and he's a junkie for it.
He was about to eat Dazzler.
Yeah.
He was about to just, maybe if I just take a bite of her arm.
Which, I mean, I've seen him eat, well, at least in the Ultimate Universe,
He ate Pixie.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you see Blob eat Wasp, just...
Oh, yeah, it's Wasp. I don't know why I thought it was Pixie.
Little wings, that's why.
Yeah, little wings.
I like how Sabretooth doesn't say, you looking for smack, because he's like a drug addict. He say, you looking for a smack?
By the way, I just have in my head that there's a My Pretty Pony of Lil Wayne that is Lil Wings. Just a Lil Wayne.
Why?
I don't
One,
know.
why do you know this?
It just,
Two,
you said
why did
Lil
they make
Wings,
this?
and I was like, oh man, now I'm thinking of it's got face tattoos and shit and dreads.
No, Little Wings is it's a B-Dubs cross advertisement between Dr. Pepper, how they got Lil Sweet.
Yeah. So anyway, he's trying to figure out what to do. Is he gonna eat this chick or not? And Mystique shows up with Sabretooth, and they're like, "Hey, what you doing breaking into our locks and doors and whatnot?" And he's like, I wanted some of that drugs you got."
Well, and their door wasn't locked because if you can kick it twice and it comes down,
Oh yeah,
it's not locked.
If Deathbird teaches you anything,
Yeah.
you can kick it twice and it opens. It's not locked. And she's like, I got drugs for you right here in my bag. I was gonna give them to you. Like, why are you going in and like trying to find my source of my drugs? And by the way, now that you know it's Dazzler, like, do you care? And he's like, nah, screw that chick. I don't care about her. I just want the drugs you have
She's
now.
a dirty sellout whore. I don't even care about her.
I think he calls her a bitch.
Not me though.
Who cares about that bitch?
No, I think he does. I think he calls her, like, because Mystique's like, I gotta go meet up with S.H.I.E.L.D. because, like, I plan on, like, making Scott Summers, like, irrelevant and S.H.I.E.L.D., like, to be sold for parts. Like, she's trying to destroy both the X-Men and S.H.I.E.L.D., and, like, I gotta go and do that stuff now, so can we trust you to, like, not fuck things up more here and, like, fix the door? And he's like, yeah, I'll keep an eye on that bitch or something. Like, he says it. Like, they're all
He's, "I'll
so
keep the
mean
disco
to
bitch
Dazzler
safe."
for no reason.
Oh yeah, calls her the disco bitch.
Yeah.
They hate her.
They
Yeah,
really
but
didn't
Mystique's
like
like,
her
I
music.
know you will, because he's a dang junkie right now.
Yeah.
But I'd like to point out, he took that growth hormone, and the only thing it did, because it like shows his face as if like, oh, he's feeling good now. His chin enlarged like 3 times the size.
He's like a frog.
Well,
like
I was-
nothing else happened. He was still big, but all of a sudden he's got like this huge chiseled chin and cheekbone and everything.
I was never clear on what actually happened to him because after M Day, didn't he lose his powers? Like,
Yeah, he
wasn't
was
he
all
just
He lost
skinny.
his powers, got super saggy.
Yeah. And then suddenly, like, I know he was used several times since then, and I like they just decided he has powers back.
It's the MGH giving him the power.
Well, now
they
we
should
know
have
that.
done at least one arc where, like, yeah, his powers are technically gone, but he can fly.
Like he's a flying squirrel.
Yeah.
Should be Blob and Squirrel Girl.
I was literally just thinking that. Oh man. Anyway, so they're like, yeah, we're gonna do that, and Dazzler shows up. Well, Mystique as Dazzler shows up on the helicarrier, and Maria Hill is yelling at her because that's sort of all she ever does with Dazzler. It's like, I thought you were our mutant liaison. You're supposed to liaise. How come you don't know where Scott Summers is yet?
You're our liaison, not our liaise off.
And she's like, I was in Madripoor. I was like, why were you in Madripoor? I was like, because Magneto was in Madripoor. And she's like, oh, well, follow that then. She's like, I was trying to, but then you were all like, come here. And so I came here. So she's like sort of just being sassy back to Maria Hill, which is kind of fun because like Maria Hill is kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Like, if this were Dazzler for real, why would Dazzler know any more than Maria Hill does right now? Like, given everything. Like, you'd be following your only lead, like, the only thing you have to tail, which is Magneto, to try to find Scott Summers, because nothing else is letting you find Scott Summers.
If it was really Dazzler, she might know like the tiniest bit more, just because Dazzler wouldn't be in Madripoor doing takeover business.
Yeah, but see, even then, Mystique inadvertently ran into, well, a sword, but also Magneto.
Well, and if it was Dazzler and she went to Madripoor, she'd be in the same position she's in right now anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Definitely. She got kidnapped in S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a whole thing.
On a helicarrier, yeah.
Agree to disagree.
Anyway, my point is Maria Hill gives her guff, basically, about, like, you're not doing your job. And then she's like, well, here's how I'm doing my job. And she's like, never mind. Keep doing your job like that. And it's like, you're not a really good leader there, Maria Hill.
Well, yeah, it was basically not, it was like, you're not doing your job. Well, I'm doing this. Well, why aren't you going and doing that?
Yeah.
Do your job.
And while they're arguing, there's a creepy guy in armor who's like, I'm listening to this, and while he's also making sentinels.
And kind of looks like Mysterio in like a super sci-fi costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Hijack leaves his house. He grabs the X jacket and his flip-flops and goes. And there's an old lady who's like, I know you've been having juicy thoughts of me, but I'm telling on you because I am an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, they're not even like decent flip flops. They're like toe thongs.
Yeah. But by the way, that's the old lady he was having dreams about. Early on, it's callback to
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we go
I think
back
we
to the
got it.
Matrix.
Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah.
when they're when they're doing the whole Cerebro thing, Scott just looks like he's Neo.
Kind of. I think this was to one of the arts that kind of bugged me about, like, suddenly Bacalo didn't look like he was drawing the same way he's been drawing. Like, he's drawn Scott like so many times now, and I don't know, he does look like Neo from the Matrix.
He started thinking about that neck. That's why he's got such a thick neck in that image.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Ben Affleck.
That's just your racism.
When Ben Affleck like buffed up to become Batman?
But it's not even buff. His neck is just way too wide.
That's kind of all of it, yeah.
His neck and his lats, that's it.
So basically the exact thing we were saying earlier.
So, but anyway, the X-Men, they're sort of realizing that they're being tracked because whoever's always showing up where they are has their own Cerebro technology or somehow using their Cerebro technology, but it's always matching up to that, and they're like creating a short list of like who could even understand how Cerebro works, let alone even knows about it. And they're like, well, Xavier, he's dead.
Yeah, make sure of that.
Magneto, he wouldn't do this. And it's like, maybe Tony Stark, maybe Reed Richards, and they're like, fucking Beast.
Which, how would like Beast or Tony Stark or Reed or Magneto use it? They don't have a psychic.
Yeah, well, I don't think that it's necessarily fueled by a psychic now, because it's just sort of a ball that's on. That's like it works because comics, they just decide now it's a technology beyond.
Well, because Scott's got 1,500 psychics around him. He's got a monopoly on all the psychics. The more I'm saying psychics, the harder
It sounded
it's
like it's saying sidekicks. Yeah.
Yes.
He also though has so many sidekicks because they're kind of just all his sidekick.
Yeah. Well, because as I've said before, Scott Summers is the main character of X-Men.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're listening to the Scott Summers podcast trailer.
Yes.
But I think it's like the psychics allow you to pinpoint specific mutants, but the map itself is the technology. And so they kind of go to whatever the biggest burst is, and maybe that's how they correlate. Like, oh, I know where they're going to go because this is the most obvious.
But they always
one
frame
to
it
go
as that Cerebro's just boosting their powers.
Yeah, they're lying. I don't know. Maybe Bendis didn't read that other shit. He's just decided.
Just doesn't care.
Not
so
surprising.
your reasoning is that like Bendis doesn't care.
I'm not saying he doesn't care about all the stuff. Maybe
Bendis,
that thing.
message us. Let us know what's going on, man.
Send an owl, Bendis.
About shit you did 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and one of the great things is he's just Scott's just like, magic, let's go. And Emma's like, hey, I want to go. Never mind, I guess, because they're just gone by that point.
And the ball just falls into her hand.
The ball falls into her hand.
Yeah, the Cerebro ball.
It does.
Oh, no.
That's a cuckoo, I think it falls into, though.
She's
Same
turning it
thing.
off.
Tell me they're different.
Yeah, because Ava has the idea that, like, if they are using their Cerebro technology, then they're somehow tracking them through it. Like, so maybe he's hacking into their Cerebro and, like, But if that's the case, he also knows where they are. Or at least should, right?
Well, because
There's
he
the
knows where
electric signature.
he knows where they're going, and
No, I'm saying where they literally are.
yeah.
If their Cerebro is at their
Either
base,
way, he should know.
Yeah. So,
You just
Well, yeah, it doesn't
finger
make
gun
sense.
me?
He can track what they're looking at, but not where it's at.
not
Kid,
advertently.
you like winked.
like inadvertently. I think I just accidentally finger gunned Tony. I don't even know how that happened. Anyway, they go. Fuck. They go
fuck?
to the Jean Grey school because they're like, well, we're gonna see Beast.
Hello.
And Magic's like, he didn't do this. And Scott's like, you hope he didn't do this. And she's like, I do. And he's like, I do too. But we gotta talk to this guy, you know? And Storm comes up and she's like, nope, get the fuck out of here right away. We want none of this. We don't want you guys. When you come here, time-displaced mutants are popping up all over the place. None of this. Which is funny because this is also a case of a time-displaced mutant, ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, well, now everything they do is. because they're all like a minute time displaced.
Yeah, they are time displaced by a minute. Yeah. Anyway, Beast comes out and he's like, "Yeah, why are you here?" And Scott's like, "Can we see your lab, buddy? We just want to check and see if you're building any mutant hunting robots."
I am offended.
Right?
This is like straight like, how dare you?
Yeah.
As if he's never done anything wrong before.
He's like, we just want to see your lab, bud. And he's like, I just didn't want to see you kill Xavier. So looks like not everybody gets what they want.
And ultimately, Cyclops' face decides it doesn't like the look of that lawn and blows up on it.
Its head just blows up.
And he's like, "I don't know what's going on. I'm not doing this."
You guys want to see my JFK impression?
Oh,
I like to think that Beast has like porn up on all 15 monitors. He's like,
He's
how
like,
dare you?
Let me run in
Trying to
there
go
real
and
quick.
check his lab.
He walks outside.
Clear
buttons,
search
stands.
history.
yeah. And then S.H.I.E.L.D. gets word that like Scott's doing explodey stuff, and they're like, "All right, we're on him. He's gonna get arrested." That time, it was on purpose.
Yeah, he did the finger guns again.
Yeah. So issue 21, Scott's face still deciding he doesn't like the look of that lawn, and Magic, there's a moment too where Storm's like, are you not done? Like, do you not feel you have enough sins in this lifetime to repent for or whatever? And Magic's like, are you serious? Like, he's not doing this on purpose. And then suddenly her powers start freaking out. And then Storm's just like, you know what? Lightning bolt. And just drops a giant-ass bolt of lightning on them.
Have you seen that internet video of the guy who's LARPing? He's just lightning bolt.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's just what Storm's doing.
They wish, because, that was an actual bolt of lightning. Just...
Which she seemed to guess really easily. Storm did. She lightning bolts them. She's like, poor Ilyana is carrying the dark energies of Limbo inside of her.
Yeah,
How?
Well,
How do you know this?
She always is. I think she doesn't know that she's literally carrying all of Limbo, but like Ilyana is always kind of a conduit of Limbo. And didn't they have a book together, Storm and Ilyana?
Yeah, they should. They have a strong connection.
Sounds like you're that dude who's always suggesting it at parties.
You're the herald of Limbo.
Yeah.
You're the guy who carries around a stick.
yes,
It's
sticking
some bongos.
Oh, jeez.
I got the music queued up here, guys. Come on.
But yeah, it was actually a different Storm in that book, though. It was an alternate reality Storm.
Also, that if you can't get enough people to Limbo, there's like a god of Limbo that shows up, like threatening destruction of the world because not enough people are limboing. So he's actually a hero.
he's
trying to
holding
save
up
the
the
world.
bar and he's like, come on, guys. And like, we need to limbo.
And then someone's just like, he's just lowered the bar. Like all dramatically.
They put on sunglasses.
Yeah. So they knock, with lightning, by the way, they knock out Ilyana and Scott. Probably killed them. If this was
They're dead.
any
The
sense
end.
realistic. But
this is where all of X-Men ends, actually. There's no
Yeah.
more books after this.
And Beast's like, all right, I'm taking them to my lab now that they can't see anything.
Yeah, now they can't see what's on the screens.
I
They're
have
about
time
to
to
be
shut
on
the
the
screens
screens, if you know what I mean.
I must study them.
So, as he's getting ready to take them into his lab, Dazzler, which isn't Dazzler, it's Mystique, is like, hey, that's property of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're under arrest, and you should hand them over because I'm the mutant liaison Dazzler, and I am for sure her.
It's definitely her. I mean, me. So you guys should give them to her, me. Me.
Yeah. Standing there all sort of sassy with like an umbrella and like her hand over her holster, like she's gonna pull a gun on them. Which also rude, right? Like they were teammates.
Yeah, we're buds. And you're like just holding your gun on me?
And they're like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. Also, cut back to Madripoor, Blob is just like, see, I'm so much stronger when I'm high, and he's beating the shit out of some guys.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic Blob.
And he's like, oh, wait, no, I'm getting weaker again because Mystique's not back yet and she has all the drugs I need. I'm going to go back to the source of those drugs and then maybe I'll eat Dazzler. I don't know.
So he's gonna eat her. He's gonna eat her.
Well, he rifles through some drawers first. Like he's looking for vials of like Dazzler blood or whatever.
I think he's looking
Which
for
it's kind of
condiments.
weird that that's how easy it is to make MGH.
Yeah, is it like just the blood? Like, what is they?
Like, is that really all it takes?
Like, what are they like slurping up in that needle?
Yeah, all you really ever see is like she pulls out a big ass syringe, pulls some stuff from Dazzler, and then puts that syringe in a purse, and like that's it. And she's like, "This makes mutant growth hormone."
Done. Like, yeah, it's like donating plasma, except you get a lot more money for it.
I don't think she got anything for that.
Well, I'm saying if you're a mutant,
I think you get a lot more money for plasma. I think they just steal the.
Yeah, I think if you're donating for MGH, you're really just being kidnapped and then almost murdered. Like
well, I
slowly
mean,
murdered.
in Dazzler's case, but if you're doing it on your own, like of Mystique, like why not just sell it yourself?
I understand what you're saying. I'm saying the market is such that people actually doing this, they don't care about your donations. They will just kill you.
I want you to look at Dazzler's face in these panels and tell me why they don't do that themselves, because she's fucked up.
Well, because they're keeping her against her will. They're drugging her and taking a whole bunch. But if you can't donate all your blood either, you got to do a little bit here and there.
Not with that attitude.
MGH, that's like a high quality drug right there.
Maybe.
So you're suggesting mutant farms?
No, I'm suggesting like, hey, why don't you just hit that donor once a month and donate a little bit, get a couple hundred?
Yeah, there's like, so you go to donate MGH and there's like some like hungover teenager with a paper hat who just keeps stabbing your arm in wrong places.
By the way, I feel like you're describing what would be like a Hydra program. Is there like, hey, we'll give you hundreds of dollars if you come and donate your mutant plasma while we make super soldiers to take over the world.
You're never seen again after that.
They could take that video of Captain America where he's like with the white background.
Yeah.
And edit it so he's like, come donate.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be wrong because he's still representing Hydra.
Yeah.
Because he's a Nazi.
They might be able to just ask him because he's also really anti-mutant.
Yeah, such a racist. Which is so weird, right? Because, like, well, I guess they already picked what their evolution of man was, right? In the Aryan. So, like, the mutant is just a rival future man.
You're misunderstanding Nazis. Aryans aren't an evolution of man.
They're the perfect version, right?
No,
I guess the point.
Aryans are an alien race that we originated from that have been diluted through crossbreeding, and that's why we don't have superpowers anymore.
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
All this time
Yes,
I
I'm
never knew.
100% serious, and don't fucking look at me with that I know you're a Nazi face.
I don't know. I just think.
Well, we found out something new about
Saying
Tony.
hair's a bit blonde,
This
eyes
is
are
it.
a bit blue.
I'm not into Nazis, I'm into occult information.
You seem to know a whole
Is
lot
this a
about the
confession?
origins of some
This is
things.
recorded.
It doesn't matter if it's recorded because I edit it.
All right, anyway. So Magneto shows up right as Blob's like, maybe I'm going to eat this chick.
I'm definitely going to eat this shit.
Yeah, and some scalpels show up around his head, and it turns out it's Magneto, like, magnetically holding the scalpels. He's like, what the fuck even happened to you, bro? And he's like, I need help, I'm sick. And I always like when they flash back to the past but use old art to do it.
Yeah.
And so you see
Yeah, I like that.
an old Brotherhood image of like Magneto being like super villainy and Blob's there when he's kind of just like an after photo, but it's funny because it's a before picture.
I especially like that kind of stuff because there's always those group of people saying like, "Oh, the old art is so much better."
See,
Let's take a flashback to this art.
Yeah, who says that old art is so much better?
I don't think that it's necessarily better, but I do think that there's a lot of great stuff in the old art. Like when we were going
Oh,
over,
there is.
Yeah, but you can't really compare them. I mean, as good as Jack Kirby's art is, it's still not as good as like Clayton Crane.
No, that's fair, but like there are different tools being used,
Yeah.
so that makes a big difference. Just from someone who is currently drawing comics, like the amount of detail some of these guys were able to put into a panel that was like a nothing panel. Like I would never want to do, let alone, 5 panels within one page.
Yeah, but
with
half
the amount
those
of detail
panels
in the
were
background.
covered up with word bubbles.
Yeah, sure, but they got to draw the whole thing out first.
Yeah,
Before the
I
word
know.
bubble. Yeah.
I know.
If anything, it's more of an affront to the art because it's like, are you serious? All the hours it took, and you're just gonna slap a word bubble over it, huh? well, fuck you.
You're gonna be really upset soon because
I will be. Yep.
I'm gonna be doing Kevin Smith level.
I'm just gonna plan ahead and then just not draw in certain parts of the panels.
So I'm just writing a book.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's just a book where the words are separated into panels.
Yeah. Anyway, Magneto's like, all right, fine, you need help, go find it. Like, because he just has that sort of nostalgic moment of like, well, I'm not going to try to kill all these guys again, I guess.
Well, and he got nostalgic because Blob was saying that, like, he's sick and he needs help.
Yeah.
And, like, Magneto remembers back to basically him being sick.
Yeah, when they were boys.
Yeah.
Also. Weird, though, because, all right, Blob's power, isn't he supposed to not be able to be, like, punctured by stuff?
No, I think he can be punctured.
No, he can get punctured. It's
Yeah.
like Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay. I thought he had, like, what's his face? A Luke Cage thing kind of going on, but it was fat.
No. No. He's
That's why Wolverine can stab
It's not fat, it's all
Blob.
muscle.
I'm sure you can stab Luke Cage too.
Well, just because, I mean, it was throwing me off with the whole syringe, and now the scalpels were scaring him and stuff, and, like, the bullets before. So, I don't know. But you guys are saying he can be punctured, so whatever. I guess I didn't know Blob's power that well. He's just a fat guy who's strong, huh?
It's all muscle. It's a big, round...
Well, I know
tummy
that he
muscle.
can be punctured by Wolverine. This is the first case I've seen him being punctured by something else.
Yeah, I don't think it, like... Because if you stabbed him with Wolverine's powers, like, you're not really damaging anything because they're not going farther enough, but it still hurts.
Yeah.
And I think his pain tolerance is a lot higher, but his skin's not any stronger.
And
But
it
he's
could
also got to be like, he's got to be set, like both feet planted, kind of crap.
Yeah, because how did he become a junkie if he's not...
Yeah, and there could be the whole MGH is wearing off, so maybe his powers die down or whatever.
Or his
Anyway,
fake power.
That
Magneto...
would suck if every time he injects the MGH, so it breaks the needle off into his skin because it becomes redurable.
Yeah. Anyway, so
He's
Magneto...
taking it rectally.
I like, too, that Magneto's so lazy that he just magnetically pulls the syringe out of Dazzler when he's, like, right there. He could just do it, and
His
he does
hand
it.
is, like, 2 inches away from it.
It's not even lazy. He's like, I don't want to get that Rona.
Now who's doing it?
Because she is gross and bumpy on the arm, so...
Those are side effects of
No, I'm just saying he doesn't. They're contagious. She looks contagious.
of something.
That's how
yeah.
he doesn't have to wash his hands because he just uses his powers to do everything.
She has spent 2 weeks to half a year in Madripoor. We don't know.
Yeah, she hasn't showered.
Yeah, ew, gross.
Gross.
We do know that she's like conscious though, right? Because she said "ow" before, so she's got to be kind of there.
Well, I think she's like coming to, and then they up her drugs.
Yeah. Anyway, he like takes the bandages off her eyes and stuff, and she's like slowly realizing she was kidnapped and that she's now being rescued by Magneto, but like also like the world sucks kinda, I'm assuming, because that is a really bad situation to be in. And yeah, it cuts away from that to Maria Hill and Beast sort of still arguing over whether she was going to let them take Scott and Magic to his lab. And she's like, we got science in labs too. Like, there's nothing special about your lab. And he's like, well,
So I got mutant science.
Yeah, you don't have mutant science. I have
guys
mutant science.
don't have my porn collection.
I need it for ambient noise. It gets me in the zone.
He really is hypnotized by the clapping sound.
Everyone knows you do better science when you're hard.
It's like a
Rock
metronome,
hard.
but it's just cheeks clapping.
He can't keeps time for him.
He uses it as a metronome.
Yeah.
So ultimately, Maria Hill's like, fine, you got 1 hour. And then Mystique Dazzler is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait a minute. I'm the mutant liaison here, and they need to be locked up. And Maria Hill's like, yeah, 1 hour. It's like, what the fuck's even going on with you people?
Yeah, but you're still Dazzler. Nobody cares.
Yeah. It's like, and I know this is going to make you mad, Justin, but like, there isn't a more worthless X-Men she could have decided to turn into. Like, with one
false.
that has like the least cred.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah. Like,
I know you're lying.
You'd be
I don't
hard
even
pressed.
believe you.
Like, maybe you could come up with a name, but like we don't know. Like
I can come up with a lot of names. We don't have enough time for
I'm
this.
just saying, like, okay, she, in terms of,
She
known
becomes
X-Men-
president.
Yeah,
She's a better.
She doesn't become anything.
She's a better mutant liaison, passed out, than Wolverine's been.
She becomes what is that? A needle cushion is what she becomes.
Pin cushion?
Pin cushion.
Pin cushion, yeah.
She doesn't become president of anything. For all we know, that was Mystique
Shh.
in the future. I mean,
She is the biggest non-X-Men X-Men.
and that's why she's worthless. Kind of.
That's why she's a liaison.
That's sort of my
'cause
point. Is that
She's
like,
more famous than the X-Men characters.
I'm gonna see your most famous non-X-Men X-Men and raise you a Gambit.
Gambit's been on X-Men.
So is Dazzler.
yeah, but so is Dazzler.
Dazzler is never on the team.
We are going to go through these books, and then Dazzler herself will make you a liar. So,
At the end of the story.
yes. Anyway.
Yeah, how many issues though? Come on. Gambit was
Literally
on there
in
for-
one, I'm about to make you wrong. Like, Dazzler herself is about
one.
to make you one.
She's on the X-Men. Yeah, obviously she's been on the X-Men, but she's not a standing member
I'm
who
saying
stays on
in
the X-Men.
covering one issue in this episode of the podcast, I'm going to make you wrong. So,
Wrong about what?
what you just said about Dazzler.
Doubt it.
The fucking confidence of this guy when he read the book. Anyway, Maria Hill is like, you guys got 1 hour. By the way, we got guns. They're pointed at you. And Beast is like, when aren't they?
Obviously.
Anyway, the mystery guy's like, since those guns are pointed at the X-Men, like Maria Hill says, they're going to start firing. And he makes them start shooting. So it kind of makes Maria Hill look like a super dick. Like, by the way, we got guns pointed at you. And then it just starts shooting. It's like,
Yeah, I'll give you 1
have
hour.
1 hour.
Boom.
Maybe a little less.
time
It's like
jump.
5,
We
4, 3, 2,
time
1.
jumped.
Also, one of the guys on the Shield helicarrier has Robbie Reyes' jacket.
Really?
Yeah, this guy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'll post a picture of the guy with Robbie Reyes' jacket.
Yeah, so then they start fighting the helicarrier because, of course, that has to happen. Storm just starts shooting lightning at it. Which, I mean, is that going to stop the helicarrier?
It didn't.
It didn't. It didn't. But like, would it? Like, lightning striking a building doesn't necessarily like.
It's not good for it.
Isn't it fine? Don't they have like lightning rods? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm looking at the helicarrier and it's got like lightning rods.
Yeah, Storm's not being too smart right now because she's attacking a thing with weather that is designed to stay in clouds.
Yeah, like it probably flies through storms. Like
It's about to.
Anyway, Emma Frost is sort of like sulking. She's doing a sad girl routine, which is out of character for her. And even the Cuckoos are like, hey, this is out of character for you. We read your mind. You're doing a sad girl thing right now.
And we read your mind, and all you're doing is replaying that music from the Incredible Hulk over and over again.
And she's like, yeah, I'm just worried, because they left us here and we don't know what's going on there and we got to be ready for anything, but also what's anything? Because we're in the dark. We don't have Cerebro on. And she still doesn't have her psychic powers. Maybe. Because there's some stuff later that doesn't really make sense.
Well, 'cause she's like vaguely got psychic powers here and there.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have much of psychic powers.
Meanwhile, the mutant students of the Jean Grey school are like, okay, this is happening again. And there's a weird pressure moment of like, I forget her last name, Angelica something, right? Firestar is like, she just joined the team. Like we literally,
we
just
covered a
covered
couple
that
weeks
in
ago.
Amazing. And she's like, I just take a shower and this happens. And right away, Iceman's like, hey, fly in the air. Like you're needed up there. Like, what are you doing? And just standing there all bewildered. There's no time for that. Help Storm. Also, it's raining. It's like her whole power is shooting fire.
Yeah, but she also lit hell on fire, so don't underestimate what she can do.
Lit hell on
She's
fire.
really good at playing pretend.
She is really good at playing pretend.
Yeah.
Oh, and that actually kind of bugs me. I just realized that they did a whole like upskirt thing on Surge. So the one time you see her again, and it's not even cool.
On Surge?
Yeah, the Japanese chick with the blue hair. She's in the panel with Firestar in the robe. And then you get a whole like Quentin Quire is like, I'm gonna get in your mind, Maria Hill, because I'm cool and you're gonna answer to me. And
I'm a cool guy.
yeah.
You do what cool guys do.
And Dazzler, really Mystique, is just sort of sneaking away. And you get like Beast is working on Scott. It's sort of mean, really. It's just like, let's see if you got anything constructive to add for once. Like, rude.
That was some garbage.
Rude. And then
It was straight ridiculous. I cannot believe he had the audacity to say that, as if Scott has never brought anything constructive to the team.
well, he does have sort of destructive power, though, when you think about it. But he's just like, oh, my stars and garters. I know who this is.
Magneto's the only one with the real constructive power.
And he's such a dick with it, too. Like,
Yeah.
he's always
He's the only one you could put on a construction site besides maybe Jean Grey, but she's a safety hazard.
Colossus can carry some stuff.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
also,
Hey,
if you run
you
out
gotta,
of, like,
you gotta demolish in
rebar,
construction.
you just use him.
Yeah, well, and Juggernaut, too, but... I mean, if we're going to
Scott
get
can
into...
blast down some walls.
We're talking just straight building, though.
Oh, so who they bringing in for demolition then, huh?
Also Magneto.
Yeah, he's kind of a
Dazzler.
one-stop shop when you think about it.
Yeah, doesn't he rebuild the school by himself? Like, isn't that a whole thing we covered where they're just like, all right, Magneto, rebuild the school.
Yeah, but no, it's literally what he did with the Weapon X facility. They're like, all right, we're here. Make it a school. And he's like, whatever.
I think we did cover an arc, though, where the school blows up and then they're like, Magneto, you build
Hook it up,
this
bro.
by yourself?
Minimum wage.
He did like goes and talks to the union, but it's just him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I need to speak with HR, actually.
So, with the rest of the X-Men at the Xavier school, a plane's like incoming, and they're like, "Oh, what's this?" Oh, by the way, we're in issue 22, and like, "What's this?" And she's like, "Read the thoughts in there. What's going on?" And they're like, "Well, it's one person who's shielding their thoughts, and another person whose thoughts are all messed up." And they're like, "Oh no, well, be prepared for anything because it could be a fight." And it's like, "No, it's Magneto and Dazzler." And Magneto right away is like, "Boy, healer boy."
He turns into Kratos.
Get over here,
Boy.
and heal to me.
Heal, boy.
And he's like, I'm trying to. And he starts trying to ask Magneto a question, and he's like, heal. No time
Talking
for
to his
words.
dog.
Yeah.
Heal.
No talk, heal.
Like he's just and he's trying so hard, and then suddenly like she's got consciousness, and she's like, I need a Walkman.
She's got to listen to the Slayer. I'm telling you.
This guy get all punk.
I like to think she is still listening to a Walkman in this day and age.
Yeah. Well, because that's how like dated she is. Is that even when, because like Walkmans are after the time of disco, but like, so even when she thinks she's being futuristic or contemporary, she's actually still in the past.
Yeah, like her music's in the 60s and she's going to like the 70s. Or like her music's like early 70s, she's going to late 70s with technology, and she should just get an iPod Shuffle at least.
Well, yeah, she's so far behind that she started in the 80s and was doing disco.
Yeah, in like 20 years she'll have a Zune.
Dude, you know how like people walk around with the speakers and just like play like just little portable speakers out while they're walking?
Yeah, annoying people.
Yeah, she could be like such like that could be like a deadly weapon for her. Like she just has one of
Oh,
those
my
on
God.
her, like instead of like a gun in a holster, she just has a speaker.
So I just noticed this. So when Dazzler is getting woken up, are you guys looking at that?
Yeah.
Emma Frost has 3 boobs.
What?
That can't be right.
She's like, are you okay, Dazzler?
Oh, yo, for real, she's got 3 boobs.
I'm only seeing the 2.
There's 3.
There is 3. He snuck one in there, right in the middle.
Yeah, he was like, more the merrier. Hey.
I'm only seeing 2 boobs. Where's this third boob you speak of? Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
a third boob. She's
at
like
this
that.
point-
She's like that chick from Total Recall.
Also, in Westchester, New York, a guy gets out of a fancy car and they're like, oh, helicarriers, huh? Crazy. guess Shield's finally getting rid of the X-Men and Hijack.
That guy knows a lot about what's going on.
Yeah. He just takes the car. Now, what's weird is, how did Hijack get from Atlanta to New York so quickly and then needs to steal a car?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because that bugs me. Like, you think, because he left in Atlanta walking in flip-flops.
He did walk all the way there.
It's like the same day.
And he stole the car from Suge Knight.
Pretty
I thought
much.
that was Fat Luke Cage.
It is also kind of Fat Luke Cage.
Suge Knight is kind of Fat Luke Cage.
Sweet Christmas. Yeah, that is a good point. Suge Knight is just Fat Luke Cage.
Anyway, more destruction of the school is happening by a creepy guy in a mask, all like, yeah, tell him, Hank, you know who it is. Like, he's goading, with like, as if Beast can hear him, but, you know.
You already know who it is. If you don't, you should by now.
Yeah, it was kind of annoying. They kept dragging that on. Like,
Yeah.
say it.
And then,
somebody was about to say it. They kept cutting it off right before they said it.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
And Maria Hill sees Dazzler, and she's like, Dazzler, get over here. And she doesn't listen because it's Mystique, and she's like skulking away. And she's like, fine. And then she's like giving commands. Like, she keeps trying to stop the helicarrier from shooting. She keeps like verbally saying the commands, and all the people on the helicarrier who are like trying to also control it are like, it's not listening to you, it's not listening to us, it's hijacked by something. And
It's hijacked by who? Maria Hill's over here like up, down, left, right.
Right.
BA start. It's not working.
And she also throws out that like, if anyone sees Dazzler, shoot her on sight, which is also pretty severe.
Yeah. She just kind of went missing.
She's disobeying me, kill her.
And also, she could just not hear you. I mean, we know that it's Mystique and that Mystique's like scuttering away, but like,
also her powers are music based. Maybe she's got fucking earbuds in, preparing for the fight.
But there's like, you know, giant laser cannons shooting out of a helicarrier into a school. There's lots of yelling, I'm sure.
Oh, you think Dazzler's ever been in a fight while listening to the Rocky theme track?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Or like
That'd
the
be pretty
Karate
epic.
Kid, like fighting people. You're the best around.
Anyway, so they hear like atomic arms or like nuclear arms got primed or whatever from the helicarrier.
Atomic Arms does sound like an X-Men character.
Yeah. Well, isn't there already a guy who like atomic something, right? Like a white name, like Chad.
I was thinking Atomic Tom.
No, it's like Atomic Chad or something like that. He's like a guy who's like sort of radioactive, and he carries a katana, and he's got like a backwards cap
Oh my god.
and like blonde
that
hair.
sounds
He's
horrible.
he's a real character.
On the X-Men?
He's a mutant. I don't know if he was ever on the X-Men or like in an X-Men book, but it's something like that. Anyway, after that, fucking Sentinels just start descending from the sky, and so now they have the helicarrier and Sentinels shooting. Like, and this school is not blown up yet, which is insane. It's just like mildly damaged. But you'd think it'd be completely nothing but rubble at this point.
Magneto built it a little better this time.
He didn't build the school at all.
Oh yeah, Wolverine just gave him a beer. It's like, rebuild it for me, too.
So anyway, it turns out like the Sentinels, they drop the man-sized Sentinels down. They're getting ready to they descend, they encircle all the X-Men, and then they just don't do anything.
The Sentinels.
The Sentinels. And they're like, what's going on? How come they're not attacking? And Maria Hill's like, that's a good question. And she shoots one, and it like just takes the bullet. And they're like, another S.H.I.E.L.D. agent is like, whoever hijacked all of our equipment seems to have been hijacked themselves. So like now, you know, we still don't have control of the helicarrier, but neither does the person who had control of the helicarrier, which is such a weird thing. How do they know that?
You
Like,
think they're just like,
they-
all right, they're not working properly, just shoot.
It's there. All right,
Yeah, they knew.
there's a
The
bad.
hijacker got hijacked.
Yeah, there's sort of like a bad action comedy called The Big Hit. Do you remember that movie at all? Mark Wahlberg, Lou Diamond Phillips.
It sounds familiar.
It's like late 90s.
or even maybe mid 90s. Anyway, there's a whole running joke about like how there's a tracer on a phone call that will trace the call of the person that you're trying to find who may have like kid, like it's like a whole ransom thing, right, for a kid. And then someone has like a trace buster to bust the trace of the thing. But then the other side would have a trace buster to bust the trace of the trace that's busting. But then the other guy has the trace buster. Anyway, all that to say, how do you even have technology that then...
So it's like that Rick and Morty episode where like they're like trying to out twist each other, where they're like, "Oh, this was a con on our end all along."
Yeah, kind of just like, but that's sort of what seems to have happened with the helicarrier control. But like, how can Shield know? Okay, like it makes sense that they know they got hacked. How do they know that the person who hacked them got hacked?
Because they stopped being hack attacked.
How do they know?
Because they're not dead.
It could just be caught. Yeah, they should just think, oh, maybe there's a problem. Maybe they're messing up or something.
Yeah, it's like such a weird thing. Like,
Well,
other
because I
than
thought
that,
they showed that, like,
it stopped firing, but they knew they
yeah,
didn't.
but they
do
tried to
it.
take over, and they couldn't take over either.
Maybe-
So I think they, at that point, they assumed, well, they don't have control of it, obviously, because we're not getting attacked, but
But
we
see,
can't
they-
take it back. There's a third party
But-
hijacking it.
But I'm just saying they spoke from authority of just like the guy who took control of it got
Yeah, because it's
someone else
Maria
took
Hill
control of it.
talking.
Yeah.
She always tries to sound like she knows what she's talking about. She never knows what she's talking about.
And
She
of
had
course,
a lucky guess.
it's like Scott's like, there's only one mutant I know who can do that. Hijack, my best bud.
Was that who it was?
Yeah, after they used the name or the word hijack over and over again.
Actually, I think I just kept saying hijack. I think they were dancing around it. I think they kept
Yeah, they
saying
were
like
taking it over.
someone took it over, took control of the thing that was taken control of. But anyway,
And honestly, we spent a lot more time talking about it than they did on the pages.
and so
Because
the
it's like a page and a half of things, and we talked about it for like 10 minutes.
yeah, and the mystery guy just sort of rage quits. It's just like, no, my plan, and he busts his own controls up.
Yeah.
And
Also, when the helicarrier crashes, the noise it's making, or when the Sentinel's crashing, the noise it's making sounds like the chorus of an R&B song about asses, because it says "fa boom boom shaboom boom."
That's true.
and then Beast's like, I know who did this, and I know where he is. And Ilyana's like, fucking take me to him. Tell me then. And Scott's like, no, you get the rest of the X-Men. And then Beast's like, fine, I'll take you to him. And
You're gonna recognize the guy, I promise.
and Magic teleports back to the Xavier School just as Emma's like, well, we gotta find out where they are, and we gotta go to them right now. And Magic's like, she pops up and like, oh, and she's like, oh, great, Magneto, Dazzler, you're here. We need you all where we are right now. And Dazzler's like, oh, she says we're at war with S.H.I.E.L.D. And Dazzler's like, yeah, then I'm in, because she's got a bone to pick with S.H.I.E.L.D. Because they just let her get kidnapped, I guess. Which is also a weird thing,
She's only on the clock for an hour and a half.
right? All that unpaid time.
Yeah, Mystique
not
was
being
collecting all the paychecks.
That's how Madripoor's so flush with cash. She's just taking all Dazzler's checks.
I worked 2 shifts this week, so I would double overtime.
Oh man. Anyway,
They punch the guy in the face, or they blast him in the face.
yeah, Scott they show up behind him, and Scott's like, guess who's 10 steps behind who?
Yeah, and with our analogy earlier of the money, he just money shot at him.
Yeah. And Beast's like, hey, Scott, remember how you came here and you accused me of being responsible for the Sentinels? And I was like, how dare you?
My bad.
Turns out, my bad. Because it was me. Just not this me, but that me. And it's
Yeah.
Dark Beast from the Apocalypse universe.
Yeah, they did
Big
that.
reveal.
Not the other me, but the other me.
Yeah.
But they did that thing that always annoys me in comics, where they're like the characters' exposition too much.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, it's Dark Beast from the Age of Apocalypse universe," like they're in fucking Scooby Doo and they unmasked him.
Yeah, that bothered
And
me too.
Scott's
Like,
the one
come
who's
on.
doing it, too. Scott's like, it's Dark Beast from the Age of Apocalypse universe. And Beast is like, yep.
I realize why comics do it, obviously. I would just prefer if they did that little asterisk that they do, where, like, if
Yeah,
they
and
just
showed
said,
it on the bottom.
oh shit, it's Dark Beast, and then there was an asterisk that said from Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah. Just be more
Agree.
technical with it.
Yeah.
Instead of making the character say it out loud.
Because
That's weird. Nobody would do that.
yeah, because at that point, if it says it like that, you're like, oh, that's the author making sure I know what it is. But
Yeah.
if they say it like that, you're like, the characters are saying shit they would never say.
They know it's the Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to over-explain it.
Well, that's sort of like the New Mutants, right? Because the New Mutants aren't supposed to officially be called the New Mutants. They're supposed to
they're
be
just the X-Men.
They're just younger X-Men. But it's gotten so conflated now that, like, it's whatever. They call themselves the New
Are you
Mutants.
sure, though?
Yeah. They're officially not supposed to be called the New Mutants. That's just... That was a marketing
Yeah,
thing.
they were just a new X-Men team.
Yeah.
But, like, after years of the books being called that, now they're in the comics, they're the New Mutants.
Yeah, and they've been referred
I
to
don't
now
know.
so many times that yeah, they just are.
Because I think when Kitty was trying to, like, when she did that whole Professor Xavier is a jerk stuff, I'm pretty sure Xavier referred to them as the New Mutants.
Yeah, but in that context, that can still make sense. He's like, that's the New Mutants in the school.
Yeah, he's not saying, like, a team name. He's just saying
Oh, yeah, I get you.
what
Yeah.
it is.
And what else is happening right now is that Dark Beast
Yeah, there's a clock.
kind of dies. He's just like, isn't it strange how blah, 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 villain monologue Beast, you killed
Yeah,
yourself.
and he goes, I am inevitable.
and dies. And
I am Cyclops.
And I kind of like how quickly this is resolved too. They look up. There's a clock counting down, and Scott's just like, magic hijack. She teleports him there, and he's like, "What do you need? Oh, the clock thing? Yeah." And he just freezes it, and that's it. It's all done in one page.
Somebody pointed out to me the other day, speaking of, because we mentioned the end of Endgame, somebody pointed out to me how it's like the end of the last Star Wars movie is just, or technically kind of the whole movies is just like Avengers Endgame. Like, it even ends with kind of the same line of, like, him saying, and I am Iron Man, and her saying, like, and I am all of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a worse Avengers.
I don't see it.
You will. You'll cross that road when you're older.
You're crossing streams here, and it doesn't work like that.
It's not a great movie. Anyway,
You're getting on Justin's bad side today.
Although I did,
What,
I want to
you
let
really
you know,
like
I
that
did
movie?
watch. No, I liked the movie, but I don't see. I mean, there's certain resemblances, but it definitely wasn't the same ending at all. Like, I'm all the Jedi has nothing to do with I am Iron Man. Like, really?
But what if Iron Man was a Jedi? That's kind
He's
of
not like I'm all the Iron Man.
but he was all the Iron Man.
He's saying
we're
himself.
saying it's
She's
a
literally
similar
saying,
enough situation where it's like two characters who are suddenly all powerful in a moment.
Because, like, they were comparing more Thanos saying, I am inevitable, and then Iron Man saying, and I am Iron Man, to Palpatine saying, I am all the Sith, and Rey saying, I am all the Jedi.
I mean, yeah, I guess in terms of what they actually said,
In terms of
it's
similarities
comparable.
of theme, maybe you have a point.
No, not even a theme, just of dialogue.
I like how your point, though, is like, yeah, if you're going off exactly what they're saying, yeah.
Well, not what's happening. Like, the dialogue might be relatable because they both said all.
Yeah,
Like, come
but
on now.
when Thanos says, I am inevitable, he believes he has all the power of the universe in his hand. And when Tony says, I am Iron Man, he himself actually has all the power of the universe in his hand. And when Palpatine's like, I am all the Sith, he thinks he has all the power of the Force on his side because he's so much of the Sith. And when Rey's like, I'm all the Jedi, she knows she has actually all the power of the Force on her side.
Said it because they're the last of their kind, so they're all of that.
But they also aren't, though, you know, because they kind of tease that there are other Jedi out there and Force-sensitive people, and that Jedi's just a way of life, you know?
Welcome to our
But they
Star
don't know
Wars
that.
podcast.
So what I was going to say is, though Birds of Prey did take a lot of stuff from Deadpool.
I love that the
just a
segue back in actually isn't to X-Men. It's a segue
Well, no, because
into
we-
other shit.
you tied those together saying they were a copy. Well, I do think Birds of Prey copied a lot from the Deadpool movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so similar.
Like, that was an actual copy, not like, oh, I'm going to take a couple words. It was like, no, we're going to take your whole theme of having a kid who's mischievous and the bad guys are after the kid. We're going to take that whole thing and we're going to take that as a way to make the kind of bad guy more relatable, but also a good person. And they'll team up with somebody in the end to save the kid. Like, that was a way bigger copy.
Yeah. But, women. So
I don't know what that has to do with this.
it makes it different.
He's
and more
saying
relevant?
that Ewan McGregor should be Cable.
No, that
Ewan McGregor did a great job as Black
was
Mask, I'll say that.
Pedophile headmaster of the
Don't
place.
say pedophile headmaster.
No, those don't go together.
I didn't even connect that in my head. But the guy who was torturing.
So how's
the
this book end?
So anyway, it sort of turns into a blame game situation of like, well, this is all your fault, Maria Hill to the X-Men's like, well, see, it was a mutant the whole time. And she gets in Beast's face. There's a weird moment too. Maria is like, okay, we got in a situation. We need the entire area taped off because there's a lot of debris. I mean, Bakulo's drawing this, so like a lot of debris. And she goes to Beast and is like, this is the problem with you X-Men and why you need to stop messing around with time stuff. And I'm pretty sure this is Beast saying this, but they make the arrow from the word bubble kind of point to Scott, and it doesn't make sense for him to say it.
Yeah.
It's like, Miss Hill, I will do everything in my power to fix what has been broken and put this right. Nothing you can say will make me feel more any worse than what has already happened today and that I already do. Like
which kind of would make sense coming from Scott if the next panel wasn't him saying, you can investigate all you want, lady. This happened on your watch.
Yeah. And also, I don't think Scott would call her Miss Hill in this situation. Like, he's already like, we're going to war.
I also wouldn't think he would call her lady, but then he did. So, which every time I hear lady,
I like how Ava's like a hype man.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's like, this happened on your watch. She's like, yup.
Yeah.
She's about to do ad-libs for the rest of the conversation.
I love that Justin's favorite dialogue in anything we read is somebody who just says one word.
Yeah. And it's usually in the affirmations. Yeah, or yup, or yes.
Exactly. We all need ad-libs. And sometimes they understand that.
And Scott gets uncomfortably close to her face in one of these panels where it's like,
oh, see, I think it's very
getting inside of her head.
Thinking.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, he's just like, I know where your mind is, and I'm just going to rattle you even more now.
He gets that close because he's seen what's in her head, and he's whispering Yin Yang Twins lyrics to her.
No, yeah, I thought he was whispering sweet nothings in her ear.
Well, kind of the same thing, because I was thinking, or is it Wu-Tang? I always get it confused if it's Wu-Tang or I think it's the Yin Yang Twins. But the where do you see my dick?
Yeah,
that's definitely not Wu-Tang.
All right, it's Yin Yang. All right, I was right the first time.
You say definitely not Wu-Tang, like they wouldn't say some shit like that. Anyway,
yeah,
not as a chorus. Come on now,
it's a solid chorus.
I don't even know what was that. Not
Given
the chorus. What is that? A bridge?
ODB would have gotten there.
Oh yeah, ODB. Okay.
So anyway, it basically Maria Hill going like, see, it was mutants all along. It was a mutant who did this, and like, shield tech from a helicarrier. Even if you weren't technically responsible, it's your stuff.
Yeah, and it happened on your watch.
And you're supposed to protect the world. So your problem, your responsibility. Like, you're
maybe
at
get more than one token mutant.
And Scott's like, look around. Does this look like the world was protected to you? And she looks and sees Dazzler's like, hey, you're under arrest. And she's like, for being kidnapped?
She's like, you were kidnapped?
It's like, yeah, from the helicarrier.
Maria Hill's just trying to like assert authority wherever she can.
And so there's this whole like,
stop running in the hall.
Shield. And she's like, an agent of what? And in this moment, you are wrong, Justin, because she is like,
how?
When I needed help, who was there for me? All this did was remind me who I really am. I am an X-Man.
Yeah, and then never to appear in an X-Man book. Come on now.
To be fair,
semantics.
Her saying this line already makes her an X-Men longer than she was technically in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right?
My point was, she's the most famous non-X-Men X-Men character. That still stands.
No, it doesn't. Gambit.
It does. It does.
Gambit is almost always not on the X-Men. He's always affiliated with some other group, or he's just thieving around.
No.
If we're gonna be
All right.
Hanging
real
out with
technical,
Phantom X, fucking docking each
Check
other.
some research. How many times was Gambit in an X-Men book compared to a solo book? Way more X-Men books.
if we're doing
Dazzler, on
that,
the
if
other
we're
hand,
going
How many
X-Men
times has Dazzler had a solo book?
yeah, once, and still longer in a solo book than an X-Men
If
book.
we're going X-Men book to solo book, Wolverine has them all beat. And do you really want to give Wolverine the credit in this?
Sure, he's not even part of the conversation.
How isn't he?
I mean, plus, if we're being serious, Dazzler's one solo book lasted longer than all of Gambit's solo books.
How many issues
so,
was Dazzler's solo?
I don't know, a lot.
You sound like somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Oh, no, it did run longer. I'm pretty sure it ran longer than Miss Marvel's first book, or Carol's first book.
That's not very long.
Most of
Well,
Wolverine's
her first book ran 25 issues. That's kind of long by today's standards.
most of Wolverine's adventures take place outside of X-Men books, and they are antithetical to what the X-Men even try to accomplish most of the times.
What are we talking about right now?
You said most famous.
We're talking about Dazzler. You're
non-X-Men
bringing up
X-Men, and
Wolverine?
technically, Wolverine is the most famous non-X-Men X-Men.
He's an X-Man.
How?
He is the most famous X-Man.
He is almost always on a different team or fucking off on his own adventures, doing things that
And he-
directly refute the beliefs and ethics of the X-Men.
I'm looking at
Yeah,
this
but
right
he also
now.
manages to be on every single dang X-Man book and movie at the same
Because they
time.
whore him out to everything. He was on every Avengers team too.
Well, that's my point. He is in X-Men, whereas Dazzler's barely in X-Men. Here she is saying, I'm an X-Man, never to appear again.
Maybe she just means had a penis before.
I'm looking at the numbers right here, and I can tell you that Gambit has a lot more solo books than Dazzler.
Does he? Because isn't his biggest solo book like 13 issues?
No. The one that he's got one that's 25.
That's volume 3, right?
He's got the one that I gave you some of the issues for is 17 issues. He's got another one that's 12, and then like two others that are just a couple issues. But he's got.
I thought you said he has one that's 25.
Yeah, his one from 91 to 2001. It's 25 issues.
No way.
Yeah.
I like how he's trying to call you out on one run of that while you've just described a massively larger thing in general than what Dazzler's had. But
Dazzler has one series that went 40 issues.
40 issues.
one time.
Yeah, but still, look at Gambit. Gambit's never had a 40-issue series.
Also, but that's because Dazzler's series came out in between 81 and 86 when everybody got 40 issues of something, and Gambit wasn't a
No,
character.
you know what?
then.
We'll wrap this up. It's because Gambit's trash and Dazzler's not.
Now you just sound like Matt Rosenberg.
Anyway, my initial point was that I think she is the least important X-Men staple. Like in terms of like, or not maybe not staple, but like official X-Men member, right? There are characters who were officially X-Men, and then other characters who are just mutants that kind of pop in and out of the books, or were always just students, never really promoted. Like Armor is one of those. Like she's sort of an X-Men. She's promoted kind of sometimes, but most of the time she's relegated to being a student. Whereas Dazzler was never considered a student, but was on teams. So she's an X-Man. She's a
for
part
like
of
a
the
book.
team for like adventures and saving the world. But she's so like not on those. She's so often not on those teams that she's not important. So the idea that becomes the mutant liaison is hilarious, and the idea that
But when you say like the least, like Sunfire has been an X-Man about the same amount of issues as Dazzler,
yeah, but he's
but
like
then
got
never had a solo
diplomatic
series
authority.
or
He's
only a
Japanese.
6-issue series.
I'm
but-
gonna change up my argument here a little bit, and because I found the real answer, the least X-Men is Deadpool.
Oh.
Yeah, because he was never on the team ever.
He was on the team for 5 issues.
When in an alternate universe?
Nope. In Daniel Way's run, he's on the X-Men for like 5 issues. You've read them. I know
course.
you've read them,
Yeah,
Devin.
I read him.
Yep. and but he is the least X-Men.
To be fair, I think Cyclops didn't want him to be and didn't approve it.
Yeah, but he had his own costume.
Yeah. Well, I think
I guess
also
everyone's
he
will.
just inserted himself onto the team at that point. Like, I think specifically there's a page where Cyclops like, no, in fact, hell no. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, get off the fucking island, man. And I think Wolverine's like,
I've seen that panel.
you shouldn't have done that. And Scott's like, what, you want him on the team? And he's like, no, I don't want him on the team. But like, do you want him to be mad at you for not being on the team?
Yeah, he's like a spiritual member of the X-Men, which makes him the least X-Men.
And I think there's an X-Men book where like they're checking rooms and one of the students goes into a room and Deadpool's just there in his own homemade uniform and he's playing with action figures of the X-Men, like imagining a battle between them all. Well, there's actually one going on.
Well, I mean, Deadpool spent a lot of time on X-Force, which is basically just...
He's not even a
X-Men,
mutant, so
but they kill people.
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah, we didn't specify mutant. We said least X-Men. And that would...
Well, in that case, it's Cecilia Reyes then.
Well, in that case, then it's Spider-Man.
He was in Spider-Man and the X-Men.
Yep, he was on the X-Men.
I
And
compared Dazzler to
I would
Cloak
say,
and
though,
Dagger.
he led a thing, so he's more than Dazzler. She's never led shit.
Also, Spider-Man, technically a mutant.
Not.
It's
He's a
mutation.
biological mutant,
Yeah.
but Sentinels attack him when they see him.
That makes zero sense.
I'm not the Sentinel. Gonna have to bring it up with them. And what
So
we're
that
gonna
sounds
bring
more
up
like a
with you
manufacturing product
is that you
or
should
problem.
check out our social media. Everything, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at Mex-Men Podcast.
Yeah.
And we have stuff for sale. Go to our TeePublic.
Yep, different
Tons
types
of stuff.
shirts and baseball shirts, and there's tote bags, and there's cell phone cases and laptop cases. We got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Tapestries, pins. Get a pin, wear it to work.
Yeah, get some stickers. Put a sticker. I mean, you're probably not working right now.
Or you are.
Yeah, some people might be working. They say 1/3 of every podcast has somebody on it working.
That's hilarious.
Is that what they
Considering
say?
there's 3 of us and one of us is working.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, the link to all our social media and our TeePublic is in the show notes if you want to just click those instead of typing them in a search bar. And that's for today.